guys haven't been following, and I have not been posting as often as I'd like to, but our challenge that we started with was the 0 to 10K challenge. And I guess you could say I jumped up 1,000 some months, 500 some months, but I was not able to touch 10K. But here's the good part. Here's our update for the year for the business though. I was able to get a partnership with the company I'm with. This is Rock Hard Coatings NJ is I was able to through hard work and equity and sweat equity. I was able to get this bad boy, and now I'm building out my own location in Jersey, baby, dirty Jersey. But let's give you an update on how our original location is doing. I know I was really talking about how I could make extra money, but then it really just turned into a business vehicle. And then I really just wanted to share a lot of the lessons that I learned with building this business, helping it scale, and finding the right levers and the wrong levers. We're finishing the year off with around $1.4 million in revenue. So that's great in essence, but we won't be depositing most of that money up until next year for tax purposes. When we receive the check. We haven't received it. We're going to get it sometime next year. But that and a lot of our revenue came from a big job that just so happened to allow us to get an Amazon job. Ended up being $500,000 job, which is great. 500 plus. But with that being said, we finished the year with 50%, 60% being from that big job, and there are others that we are going to get like that. It's nice to see that hard work does pay off a bit, but how we got that was through a few means. We do epoxy floors and polished concrete. So I'd say 5%, yeah, I'd say 5 to 7%, close to 100 grand, came from polished concrete, which the average job size was around average order value for that job, or let's say value of that job was around 5 grand, topping up at 20 grand, and then we got one at the end of this year for 25,000 and around 30 grand. So they're bigger ticket size. They're a little bit bigger in their ticket size. So that came up to like 6-7% of the business, of the revenue. We got a bunch of that also from coatings. Around like 600 grand of that came from epoxy coatings, which is garages, basements, commercial businesses, the works, and it's growing still. We were able to get that through municipal contracts, police contracts, firehouses, as well as residential houses. Right? We still have some big pending jobs pending, which is one's is a Barnes and Nobles, another is it's like 2 or 3 pending jobs, and it's a lot of universities, a lot of shaking hands, kissing babies to make it happen. We were able to get to this level, but in my new location, the boy is doing SEO. The SEO is going to be awesome. We got around 600, 700 interactions for our Google Business Profile, and we're basically growing it via SEO. So I've taken a hands-on approach, blog post, it's called topical mapping, which is topical mapping via Google. Simply put, you answer a question that no one's answering, you pair it to your account, and you will begin to reap the rewards of answering those questions. A along with, we're paying a company around $500 a month for SEO, and it's definitely working, especially since we've gotten our first customer. I'm super excited, super blessed that it's working out this way. I wish it was a little faster, since I did become a dad. I do have my baby, Nicholas Alexander. Doing my best to set him up for success, at the same time trying to continue my success as I continue working towards building the correct skills to make success repeatable, make success a formula. And that's one thing that you could say like I haven't truly found. I found that, if there is a bunch of demand for your work, you can go out and sell jobs. But creating that demand is another thing. It's what I want to learn. And I have been learning finally by taking a lot of Google Ads classes, Facebook Ads classes, SEO trainings, and really just honing the skills into business acquisitions, understanding, like for instance, like we were doing a vertical in the business, so we are having a floor cleaner attached with our service now. That's going to allow us to sell to our same customer, but on a contract value basis. So on paper, it's worth way more, and you get to do a double. It's like you pay the manufacturing company, and then you pay yourself the commission or the profit, which is nice. So, for instance, if we sell that item for $60 on paper, but it costs $10 to make and manufacture and ship, let's say $15 ship, the commission tags onto the company. Every customer will get that product by default. And as I begin searching, racking my mind, trying to get the faculties going to understand where I'm at, understand how we can provide value to our customers via either frequently asked questions, by creating a floor service guide, a cleaning product that they've explicitly asked, how do I maintain it? So to take the guesswork out of it, we included it within our service, i.e. making our customer experience, out of box, OB, a customer experience better. We are upgrading the actual, you could say, we are elevating our brand by offering more, making it a no-brainer. Yes, there are still, I believe we sent out 339 quotes this year, which resulted in around $1.4 million in sales. So success in business, well, in this business, happens to be a game of volume. How much can you send out? But here's the trick. 100 invoices accepted, 109 invoices accepted. So we have a 30% close rate on those quotes, which is great. We weren't charging less than what we could do it for. So this is good. But if we're gonna bring it back, circle it back to, I am trying to find a solution to a problem that, as learning from this guy named Mike Andes from Augusta Lawn Care, phenomenal business coach. He has stated, was it him? You got to get in an industry that's ordinary or crap, whatever, and do it extraordinarily well. You have to be able to do ordinary things extraordinarily well. If you get into a random business and just do things better, provide a better experience for the customer, a better, organize your CRM, organize your data, centralize your invoicing, centralize your pictures for your invoicing, right? Coming out with items to make a job checklist, a work order checklist. Like, we are testing things out in order to get organized, right? Because I believe most businesses can't keep good talent just because of how chaotic, how sporadic, how planning is made out to be. And this is not my strong suit. This is probably one of my worst traits that I'm working on. And truly, it is a labor of love. It is full intentionality that I have to 100% think about, like, intentionally, like, I gotta do this. And then I don't do it, so then I have to continue working at doing it right. It sucks. It sucks that, I'm over here working on things, but I can't just stay busy. I have to move the needle. And business is literally boring. Like, and I think that's the one thing that people should remember is when you're going the way you're supposed to, it just gets real quiet and real boring. When you're just trying to make tweaks, when you're trying to get data, get information about your decision. For instance, we started a Google Ads, Google Ads campaign for search. At first, I set up the wrong campaign type for my budget. I swapped it for a search campaign based on my budget size, and now I had to just wait. And as I'm waiting, I have to sharpen my tools. You gotta learn that for Google Ads, you are better off running your business ads between office hours, and do not run them outside of office hours, because the likelihood of you being able to contact, yes, you can contact someone after a week or a weekend, sure, but the likelihood that customer picks up decreases every minute, hour that you do not receive a callback. It just is what it is. That's just the name of the game. I don't make the rules. That's just what they are. But business is boring at the highest level. And it's exciting because you get this chance to make money. You get this chance to change your life. You get this chance to, like, have a fear of success. You get the chance to provide and create crazy memories that are amazing. But you then, part of the business that has to make money has to also do payroll, has to do planning, has to do quarterlies, has to do profit and loss statements, has to analyze that data, has to be able to keep the doors open while your business is growing. And to be honest, it is sometimes easy to be undisciplined and not do the simple things, not do the things that once you learn them, you do something about it. It's really tough to be able to do the simple things that you know. Do things throughout the day, but then skip the simple things. So once I learned about the proper campaign, I spent another 50 minutes to 2 hours beating myself up just about to click start on the campaign. Like sucking at skills that I'm intimidated by, but I'm doing it. And this challenge has taught me a lot, because I've been truly trying to document it. Show you that a person like me, but for clarity, I I am making close to 50-ish grand a year that I'm doing with a 30% profit share with this location, right? There are different targets I have to meet. Plus, I have to be able to build my own profit share, be able to get this location up and running and put a GM in place and create a machine. And it's tough because you want to be, I'm gonna do, I got this, I'm gonna do it. And at a certain point, being a new father, looking for ways for my wife to stay home, you got to get so creative with your time that, yes, you have to work 100%. You got to think far enough ahead to say, great, while I'm working, what can I put in place that'll allow me to spend time with my family, see my son grow up, not miss these beautiful, pivotal moments that most people do not have the privilege of doing. I've gotten to spend, just because of the work I do here, I've gotten to spend almost every day with my kid for hours. Either beside my wife taking care of her and holding my baby for 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours, trying to be there, changing my baby's diapers, learning what it means to be present, learning what it means. And this just sounds so silly, but there are accidental business owners, and there are people that coincidentally hop into business to solve a problem, and that problem sometimes happens to be time, happens to be keeping someone home. And I truly want to be able to keep my wife home. She puts a different fire in me, but I have fear of success, and I'm not proclaiming that. I'm stating how I feel, how I felt, and my reaction to this newfound level of responsibility. Because I realize I work better under pressure, but when there's no pressure, I have to be disciplined, and that's a muscle that I have to develop that I haven't yet developed. And I realize that I'm not lacking. Like, for instance, I am not a terrible person because I haven't practiced the skill of being organized. I haven't practiced the skill of being patient. The same way you haven't truly studied wealth, skill creations, habits, Facebook ads. I'm realizing that I'm not a loser because I'm losing. I'm not a failure because I failed. I don't attach a permanent definition to myself because I lack the experience and the repetitions to be good at it. I'm understanding, and when I'm not being pressured, when there's no pressure, when there is nobody over my shoulder saying that has to get done, I have to work on it intentionally, creating the deadline. And it's difficult, right? Because when you gotta work through your own failings, you have to work through your own stuff. You gotta, if you're not busy, you're not gonna make up a lie to fill the gap, right? You're just gonna tell the truth. You're just going to do better next time. And what I mean by doing better, it means, like, for me, I've had it's called trauma-informed logic. And I'm not labeling anything. There's just a book called Trauma Logic or Trauma-Informed, whatever. And that book kind of lets you understand a little bit about trauma-informed decisions. And I understanding about myself that due to how I grew up, you could say the tendencies of my parents, how I've chosen to take information, I've when cornered or when I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble, I lie. White lies, but I lie. And I've had to intentionally talk myself into telling the truth, because it's a white lie. I'll say the white lie first and then tell the truth and say, I did it, and I didn't do it, right? And the first one was out of fear and impulse, and the other one was out of just like, yeah, I didn't do it, like, I'm not gonna lie, but I lied, right? And that sounds so funny, but that trauma-informed logic needs to be educated. You need to bring it to light to be able to fix anything. And as I go throughout this process, I'm going to continue sharing what I'm learning, what's working for me, as I build the skill of patience, as I build the skill of organization, as I build the skill of structure, and not hating structure, not being anti-structure, not being anti-tradition. And I'm learning the proper ways, the best practices of doing it. I'm going to do my best to share it with you. And maybe you guys can come back to this video and you can see, well, that was great, I'm going to take that. That's great, well, I'm going to take that. And as you're going up in your journey of, your business, your health, your life, you get to come to see me, and we're at the same point and say, yep, great, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that, this is perfect, boom. Then, just like that, you can make that simple change that takes you from, level 1 to level 6, right? Almost in the same week. Then you hit a different plateau. But I appreciate you. If you're watching this and you stood to this part, just so you know, you got something great inside of you. You got something that keeps you up at night. You got something that most people dream of having. And most people wish. Most people are lethargic to work. And you got something others don't. You got something called obsession. And that obsession, at first, it's misdirected and misguided. But with time and practice, you'll be able to 100% change that dynamic, and funnel it, because focus, just like obsession, is like a beam of water. And when you first open the faucet, but as you control it, it becomes more and more potent. That's the same way it is with obsession. Because if you could put your focus and obsession on the same thing and let it not be detrimental, you can have a life that most would dream of having. And that life doesn't always have to be monetarily there, even though there are aspects of that. It could be your time freedom to fly anywhere, location freedom, amongst all these things. Follow me. Stay with me on this journey. If you're anything like me, be here with me. You can comment some nice things. I'll take that. But yeah, I'm excited, and look forward to continually working through building a business, sharing how it scales, and teaching the things that I get to do that.